and welcome back to Apotheosis Role-Playing Games. My name is Sam, and this is the developer and owner of the game, Teddy. So, how long have you been playtesting Apotheosis Role-Playing Games?
We started working on the system in 1998, and by the year 2000 we had our own unique system, and we've been playtesting it since then with over 100 playtesters and about 10,000 hours now of actual gameplay.
Do you prefer role-playing in fantasy, sci-fi, or modern-day settings?
Personally, I'd rather play in a fantasy game. I've played my fair share of all of them, of course. I'm playing in a sci-fi game now. I tend to avoid modern-day games unless they're post-apocalyptic, kind of like a zombie feel. But definitely fantasy for me. I like the high adventure, the knights, the dragons, that kind of thing.
Without going into the mechanics of the game, what is your favorite part of Apotheosis?
My favorite part, two-part answer, is the whole reason why we made the system in the first place. Our mission statement back in '98 was to create a gaming system that had a codified spell system that made sense from top to bottom, and that had a monster system, which we now call the Codex, where the monster's abilities and the player abilities were all written on the same page. So what I mean by that is, though monsters do have unique abilities, players can gain access to them, and the player abilities are balanced against the monster abilities, as opposed to most systems, which has been the trend in the last few years. The monsters are written with one set of rules, the players are written with another set of rules, and that's just impossible to balance. So if you write them all with one set of rules, then we can actually create balance.
What have been some characters you've played using the Apotheosis system?
Well, I've played too many to even consider at this point. One of my favorite characters has to be a goblin rogue that I played years ago, who had a pair of glasses that allowed him to read any language and become super intelligent when he put the glasses on. And he fought with shovels, so he tunneled underneath his enemies and threw sharpened shovels at people. And he was a hoarder, and he hoarded knowledge. So he had a massive library in this underground bunker, and I got to play him completely duality. So he put the glasses on, he was super intelligent. When we took the glasses off, he was a goblin rogue who could barely read. It was super fun.
Why do you think people should use the Apotheosis system?
Well, definitely for balance, so that they're all playing with the same set of rules. But more than that, your character can go through long-term development with the system, and you can actually even change what species you're playing by taking a path of apotheosis. The system really supports long-term play and character growth and development.
What is your favorite memory at the table while playtesting Apotheosis?
I can't pick a favorite, because then I'd have a whole bunch of people in uproar, but I'll give a good one, and it was a game that you were in. So at the time, we had a party where one individual had decided that the entire pantheon of deities had just messed him up in a way that he wanted to get his revenge on them. So him and another player created a plague that affected the way that the gods could actually communicate with the people that worship them. And it started shutting off these things called divine blessings, which is the primary way that a deity reaches out to their worshippers. So the player got cursed by all the deities, and he became the heretic, and magic didn't work for him, and he had all sorts of grief. And as the party progressed through this crazy player-driven storyline, one of your characters was in the mix. They were fighting some demigods, and in this climactic battle, one of the other players, who was a devout worshiper of the god of, I think it was growth and vines in the campaign, decided that the other players was enough is enough. So he did what we called threw down his player kill card. He actually had these cards designed with kanji and origami, and they were absolutely amazing. And he threw them down in the middle of the table as he explained that all of the party members in the scene were trapped inside of this prison that no one could escape, and that he was taking one for the world, and that he was going to imprison his entire party so that the party could never go out again and mess up the world any further than that they already had. And of course, one of the other players at the table immediately had a get out of jail free card ability that allowed him to escape imprisonment, and he used it. And it was an amazing scene, totally player driven, really exciting. The players were making things outside of game. They were conniving for 6 months with me in between games via text message or coming over during the week. It was an awful lot of fun to play through, and that campaign lasted about a year and a half. So
I remember that. I am trapped in stone.
yeah, I think your snake priestess was unable to move because she was paralyzed at the end of a fight in that crazy contraption that was made.
Indeed, I was.
It was good stuff.
It was. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please like and subscribe and share this video if you really liked it. Please remember we do have a Facebook, an Instagram, and a Twitter page. And if you really love us, we have a Patreon that you can donate and support us and help us put out more content and more videos. And we do have giveaways on Patreon monthly and
based off monetary metrics for the Patreon. So at the first of every month, we do a loot giveaway. Apotheosis loot, merchandise, custom-made miniatures, things that have been handcrafted by Sam or the other players. And then when we hit every $50 mark on Patreon, we also do another giveaway. The whole reason that we have the Patreon, guys, is so that we can get up enough funds to get up one copy of our published book, so that we can then take that and go to Kickstarter with it. We have this amazing app that works on your phone, on iOS, on Android, and on PC that has all of the player rules inside it and allows you to track your characters and grow them up over hundreds of levels. And that app has been a labor of love for the last 3.5 years now. And we are trying to go big time with it, and the Patreon is a stepping stone for us so that we can finally get a Kickstarter going and get that app out to you guys. Thank you very much.
thank you guys.